Hello and welcome back to Gapeys Grow Room. Today is my favorite seed starting day of the year. It's time to start our tomatoes. So one thing that I've noticed a lot of people do around here and in colder climates is they start their tomatoes way too early, and by the time it comes Mother's Day, when we usually plant our tomatoes outside, they're just growing out of control. So I like to start my larger tomatoes around mid-March, and then I'll do the cherry tomatoes next week towards the end of March. So today we're going to be starting 10 new varieties that I've never grown before. It was really hard to narrow down the choices, but I finally did it. I actually changed one today that I wasn't planning on growing, but I decided to swap one of them out for a different one. So I'll talk about that a little bit later. But I'll show you all the paste tomatoes and beefsteaks that I'll be growing this season, and let me know if you've grown any of them. I start my tomato seeds the exact same way I do the peppers. I've already got these 4-cell trays. These were actually originally 6-cell trays, and I just cut these off, so they're now 4-cell trays. I've got 10 varieties here that I'm starting, so I've got 2 4-cell trays and 1 with 2 cells. But I've already got some pre-moistened Jiffy seed starting mix already loaded up, and I've also got the labels already done, so that will save a little bit of time. And I've also got some holes that I used. I just have a colored pencil here that I used to poke holes in each cell, and I've got 5 holes in each of these cells, so we'll be starting 5 of each variety, and they're about 1/2 inch deep or so. So we're going to start with our paste tomatoes. So this was the hardest choice of which ones to grow because I have so many to choose from that I haven't grown before. So let's start off with this first one. This one is called Carbarino. This is probably the smallest variety that I'm starting today, but it is a paste tomato that is pretty small. So these seeds that are originally from the Heirloom Seed House from 2024. So they're pretty new, so we shouldn't have too much trouble getting them to germinate. So I got these seeds from Hope Foster from the Tomato Lovers Collective on Facebook. So there is a lot of seed trade that goes on in that Facebook group. So I got quite a few varieties from her, and this is one of them that I'm going to be growing. So we're just going to put 1 seed in each of these cells, and we should get some to germinate. Now I'm only going to be growing 1 of each of these varieties in the garden, and I'll be selling the rest locally. If you're in the area and interested in my plant sale, let me know and I'll send you some details, but I usually don't do that till around April. Now, all of the paste varieties that I'm growing are from Italy. And let's see, so the next 3 that I've got here, these are all from the same person. So Silver Maple Ceramics on Instagram has been sending me lots and lots of paste varieties to try. So this year I've decided to go with these 3 from him. This one's called Federally Tomato, and obviously the seeds originally came from M.I. Gardener, and they are taped up really good, so I'm gonna have to probably use some scissors to get these open. So this one is actually from West Virginia, originally from Italy, but I guess somebody that lives in West Virginia has been growing this that came from Italy for several years. So this is, I guess, pretty well adapted to colder climates. So we are going to put that one in here. And these seeds are much larger than the previous variety we started. And also this one is supposed to be really productive. It says 10 to 15 pounds of fruit per plant. So that will be good for sauce for sure. Okay, now our next one, let's do this one. This one is Chipola's Pride. So this one, oh, I forgot to mention, this one is a banana-shaped paste tomato. So I tried to get some variety here in my selections. So that one's kind of a long, thin variety. This one is kind of large and more fat than the other one. And this one, it says it's 80 to 85 days and originally from Tim's Tomatoes. So again, this one is also from Italy. Now our last of the paste tomatoes is called Caesar's Canestrino de Luca. And this is also known as a basket tomato. So this one is a lot different than the other ones that I am growing. So it's kind of got some ribs, and like the name suggests, it has like a basket shape. It's very uniquely shaped, so I thought I would give this one a try because it sounded kind of interesting. And now we're just gonna cover up all of those holes that we have here. And I've already got a 1020 tray set up with the heat mat that I started some eggplants yesterday. So we're gonna put these over with those and hopefully they germinate in a few days. All right, next up we've got our beefsteak tomatoes. So these are all larger varieties. And I don't usually grow this many beefsteaks, so this will be interesting. 3 of these varieties are from Bill Yoder, who's not probably super well known, but he's a tomato breeder that is starting to gain in popularity. He's got some 80s band themed tomato varieties. So this one here is called Save a Prayer. This is from his Duran Duran line. And this one is a yellow red heart shaped tomato. So I haven't grown very many heart tomatoes, so I was really excited to try this one. It's also really a beautiful looking tomato. And all the tomatoes that I have here from Bill Yoder, I did purchase. Everything else is from seed swaps. Okay, we have another one from the Duran Duran line. This one is, let's see, the Reflex is also a Duran Duran song. So this one is a red antho tomato. So it's mostly red, and on the shoulders where the sun hits it, you'll get some kind of purpling color depending how much sun that it gets. So it's a really pretty tomato too. And then the last one, this is not from the Duran line. This one is called Suffer Well, and this is from his Depeche Mode collection. And this is apparently the best tasting tomato that he has. And it's a cross between the Berkeley tie-dye and the Cherokee Purple, which are both really outstanding tomatoes. I've grown both of those and really, really like it. So I'm excited to grow this one. And this one is a purple kind of tomato, and it's got some green stripes on it. So it's another pretty tomato. All of his tomatoes are really very beautiful looking, and they're all supposedly really tasty. But this was the one I'm probably looking most forward to growing because everyone says it just tastes absolutely amazing. And then let's see, last one we have here is Mountain Flare. And this one is a really rare variety that you probably will have a hard time finding. I got this one from a seed swap with Twine and Trellis on Instagram. And this is supposed to be a, let's see, she says it's an orangey bicolor tomato. There's not a whole lot of information on it, but what I could find, it looked pretty good. So I'm looking forward to this one too. All these tomato varieties are just looking really great. Now these last 2 varieties are from Lascia in the Tomato Lovers Collective. Like I said, there's lots of seed trading that goes on in that group. But we've got one here that I've been looking forward to growing a long keeping tomato for a while. I think this is an Italian variety called Largo de Garanella. This is a kind of a largish cherry tomato, but these long keeping tomatoes, they're probably not the tastiest tomatoes in the world, and they have really thick skin. But the great thing about them is that they store really long time. So you can store these in your house for like months and they won't go bad. So that really kind of caught my eye, and I really want to try these and see just how long they will last at room temperature in the fall. Maybe we'll have tomatoes throughout the wintertime. Okay, and then the last one is a dwarf variety. I think this might be the only dwarf I'm growing this year, aside from some micro dwarfs. But this one is called Uluru Ochre. And this is also from Lascia. And this one's kind of a larger beefsteak tomato. We don't have very many seeds in there, but it looks really cool. It's kind of an orange earth tone colored tomato, which I thought was kind of a neat color. I haven't seen a tomato quite this color before. So I'm considering maybe growing this one in the greenhouse since it's a dwarf, because it won't get too big, but we'll see. I like to grow either the ones that take a really long time to ripen in the greenhouse or the dwarfs. All right, and that is all we have for our larger tomatoes. Here's a little look at our germination station here in the grow room. I've got the starts here in a 1020 tray, and I believe this is from Bootstrap Farmer. It's a really thick and sturdy tray that'll last a lifetime. I've got this probe here for the heat mat, and our heat mat is set to 80 degrees, and it's currently listing 79.1, which is pretty close to 80 degrees. But we've got our eggplants in here from last night that I started, and then I just added our tomatoes here. Now, to keep it from drying out, I'm using a Epic Gardening humidity dome. I really like this one because it's a lot taller than the standard ones. I've also got a bunch of these standard ones from Jiffy, as well as some from the Greenhouse Mega Store. Those are a lot cheaper, but I do like the taller ones because sometimes those labels are a little bit too tall for these other humidity domes. So this one gives it plenty of room in there, so I like using that one. And then I also cover it with I use a pillowcase just to keep the light out so that mold doesn't grow in there while they germinate. And that is exactly how I grow pretty much all of my seeds, unless they need light to germinate. Then I will put them up here under the light. You can see I've got some flower seeds here. A lot of the flowers I grow do require light to germinate, so that's what we've got in there. And take a look at that. Our onions are looking awesome. But hopefully we'll have some germination on the tomatoes in the next week or so. I hope you enjoyed seeing all the different tomato varieties I'm going to be growing in the garden this season. If you've grown any of these before, let me know what you thought of them, because I am really curious. I hope you like this format, because we're going to be doing one more video next week of all the cherry tomato seeds that we're going to be starting this season. And those are also all new varieties that I've never grown before. So it should be a fun tomato year. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. You can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.